Well, let me bring in now Benjamin Anthony. He's the CEO of the MirYam Institute, joining us tonight from New York. Welcome to the programme, Benjamin. Good to have you with us. So from what you've seen of the 21-point plan, what we know about it so far, is it a good deal for Israel?
Well, thanks very much for having me, first of all. I appreciate it. Look, there is a 21-point plan. Everybody's aware of that. But there's a two-pronged goal of this war. And as I see it, those two prongs have not yet been struck. The first is obviously to bring home all of the remaining hostages, those who are alive and those who are no longer alive. And the second is to end the threat of Hamas to the state and the people of Israel. And as this negotiation is going on, it's important that the viewers keep in mind that our soldiers are currently taking the fight to terrorists arrayed throughout Gaza City, and they are combating them in kinetic operations. So the threat from Gaza remains real. The hostages not yet home. Obviously, this 21-point plan is an effort to bring about the return of those hostages. Everybody would celebrate were the hostages to come back, rightfully so. But I think that people need to understand that if our soldiers don't go forward and destroy Hamas in time, with enough time, the Gazans and Hamas will come and seek to kill our citizens. They've said that, they've reiterated it, and I think that we need to make sure that the threat of Hamas is eliminated in any future arrangement. And I don't see that this particular plan brings about that end goal.
All right, Benjamin, but if the entire Arab world and President Trump are saying Hamas will be disarmed and there is a credible plan to disarm Hamas and exile those leaders, would the plan be acceptable then?
Well, first of all, I take strong issue with the notion that there's a credible plan. There's certainly a will to see Hamas disarmed, but there's also a little bit of nuance there. There's a demand that Hamas disarms itself of all of its offensive capabilities, so that's the attack tunnels, that's the rocket-making facilities, all of that sort of thing. And then there is the insistence on Hamas that it retains the arms, the small arms that it has at its disposal. So even there, it's not exactly clear what the plan is. I don't think it's credible. Hamas is not in the business of laying down its arms. It's never acceded to such a thing. I'm very, very, very perturbed by the idea of an international force, whatever its composition may be, as being an effective way of bringing security to Israel's borders. We saw the complete failure of international military presences on our northern border to bring quiet between northern Israel and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. We've had UN peacekeeping forces arrayed throughout Israel at various times in various areas. We've got the United Nations patrolling in Judea and Samaria. These often serve as impediments to bringing security to our borders, not as a means of bolstering that security. So all of this is troubling. I will say, however, that people should keep in mind this seems to be a plan, a 21-point plan that was put forward by Israel. We can see that, for example, in Clause 17, where there's a very clear stipulation. It's very curious that in the event that Hamas objects to the 21-point plan, various aspects of it will yet go ahead. Incidentally, that's very Kushner-esque. It's something that we saw when Jared Kushner was brokering the deal of the century, the Peace to Prosperity plan, with regard to Israeli-Palestinian peace that he was seeking to bring about. There's no mention in Clause 17 about the prospect of Israel rejecting the plan, of course. And so that at once reveals that Israel is very much behind large sections of this plan. And it also reveals the fact that Israel is likely to go for it with certain stipulations and certain adjustments. But I don't think there's space for optimism or pessimism at this stage. Just think we need to temper our expectations and recognize that we've been on the cusp of an end to this war several times in the past. Seems to be higher pressure surrounding this particular summit, but whether or not that results in the outbreak of peace, as President Trump is talking about, is anybody's.
I mean, we should point out, of course, Hamas has not accepted the plan yet. So, all of this might be academic. But do you not think that President Trump has run out of patience at this stage? He doesn't want to deal with this conflict anymore. I mean, it's such a turnaround from what he was saying in February of this year, when he was saying he wanted to depopulate Gaza and he wanted the United States to take control of the territory. Now he's talking about something very different. Is Prime Minister Netanyahu not going to have to take this deal, whatever it is?
Well, yeah, again, as I say, I think that Israel has had a very heavy hand in the crafting of this deal. So I think much of it reflects some of the aspects that Israel would find acceptable, of course. But I'm deeply disappointed by the substance of this 21-point plan. I'm deeply disappointed, for example, that the outcome for terrorists who massacre 1,200 of our people and take 252 of them hostage and hold a further 48 to this day. The result is that the people living beneath their terror leadership all get high-rise buildings and brand new apartment blocks, as there's massive investment, according to this plan, inside the Gaza Strip. My own view remains unchanged. I'm very concerned that it is now a forlorn hope, but my sincere hope and ambition would be that everybody recognizes to bring quiet to the state of Israel. The Gazans cannot continue to inhabit an enclave proximate to our borders. They remain a threat. They are the people from which Hamas is replenishing its ranks. And I think that Smotrich, who has a habit of saying things that are regrettable, is absolutely right when he says that he insists that there be a push to facilitate the voluntary relocation of the Gazans out of the Gaza Strip into the Sinai Peninsula, the border between the Sinai Peninsula and Israel be opened. I think that's very appropriate, it's very proper, and I actually think it's the only way to bring long-term quiet to our borders.
All right, Benjamin, thank you very much indeed. Benjamin Anthony there at the MirYam Institute.
Thank you.